Good evening. This is Dr.SheCole, your cultural curator, your kinky curator, and I'm here with two special guests. I have the famous, world famous Shrop, wave to the people, Shrop, and I have SS Chris in the building. Wave to the folks. All right, fantastic. So coming to you today, Dr.SheCole wanted to do something a little different, and you are looking at a wonderful piece of artwork. A few people have mentioned in my comments about artwork in my backdrop, and I finally got this piece in after waiting for about a year when I could squeeze the coins out. And this is a piece called "You Stole My History. They Tried to Sell It Back to Me." And this is art by Monday. The artist's name is Stacy Monday. So I just wanted to give a shout out to this artist. You can find her work on Etsy. So please check out her e-store. She has some phenomenal pieces. I have about 5 or 6 of them throughout my home, and I love each and every one. So we're going to get into a conversation today in relation. Good evening, people, my people. This is Dr.SheCole, your cultural curator, your kinky curator, coming to you this evening with a few special guests. Miss Shrop, why don't you wave to the folks? All right, she can't even say hello. You can say hi to the people. Okay, very good. And also we have SS Chris in the building.
Evening.
All right, evening, absolutely. So I just wanted to highlight some artwork that you see in the background. Many folks in my comments have made comments about my paintings on some sets I've chosen to do over the past couple of videos. And all the art that you see in my house is by Stacy Monday. So Art by Monday, you can Google her and you can see her signature right there, Art by Monday. And the name of this piece is "You Stole My History. They Tried to Sell It Back to Me." So I thought this was a beautiful piece of artwork, and I was so happy that it finally came in. And we're going to go ahead and get started. But I wanted to celebrate female, black female entrepreneurs and artists in this segment by highlighting this piece, Stacy Monday, Art by Monday. So, Shrop and SS Chris, how you doing this evening?
Quite well.
Good.
Wonderful.
Good. I'm so glad you decided to share a little bit of time with me. I wanted to have an open dialogue and discourse just for a few minutes on life, leadership, and longevity. So in your perception and in your experience in life, much like this mask, we have a history. And I want to know, what do you mask from the world in this life? Or what do you think that people tend to operate with different masks in life? And I would like to know, what do you think you mask from the world? And in relationship to your life and what impact you've had, have you gained or have you lost more because of the mask? Anybody can jump in at any time.
I would say for me, one of the things that I think has been masked a little is my feelings. And that's primarily because sometimes I think it comes off as being misunderstood. I grew up in a family where I spent a lot of time with my grandparents and a lot of the older generation. So they shed a lot of light and wisdom on a lot of situations. So usually when I think about things, it's kind of from a more global perspective. And, I've kind of been told over the years that I have an old soul, if that makes sense. So that's primarily where I get a lot of that from. So I don't tend to look at things along the same lines of a lot of my peers, but I'm kind of approaching it from, I think, that standpoint where, I've grown up with my grandparents being very active in my life and being able to see things from a perspective that's way more mature than my years.
Okay.
For me, I will also say my feelings, but also my ability to connect with people, my peers.
Sure.
I also grew up, with people who were very influential in my life. So for me, it was about, how do I build myself up, to be the person I am today. So while, my peers were, wondering, what shoes they were going to buy or what, clothes outfit they was going to wear, I'm trying to figure out what my next step in life was going to be. So it was all about me building up my legacy. So I grew up, many people say I was very disconnected because I didn't relate to my peers. But it wasn't a point of me not connecting. It was a point of me trying to build up who I am today.
I like that. So both of you have something in common that's very important when you go into leadership and marketing and your brand and how you present not only to people that you hope one day will follow you, but what you are projecting as your leadership brand and how you connect with people. Now, both of you have a commonality as when you were growing up, the influences that you had allowed you to take a more mature stance, which would disconnect you from your peers if your peers are thinking about, partying, what's the latest trends, fashion, etc. But then Schwab is coming from a perspective that she's been coached and cultivated by seasoned people, so she can see things and have some foresight that she might want to warn somebody that she cares about to keep them from going off into, a fork in the road. But when you're trying to jam and, do your thing and, be youthful, young and free, people don't want to hear that. So that can be a disconnector. And then Chris, because you are focusing on what you're trying to do in your life, next steps, you're not looking at the latest trends in shoes and things of that nature. You're trying to talk about what is my legacy going to look like. So that would be a great disconnector from an age group if that's something where you're thinking perhaps 10, 15 years ahead. So from a leadership marketing standpoint, what do you think you have to offer as a leader? Because you all are both leaders. You're on the leadership track in your profession. You lead in your profession currently among your peers. How has that journey impacted what you do now day to day and how that impacts children? What do you think your brand is of leadership to your peers and children?
Well, for me, I would say it is whatever I do is done in love. It's also done with passion. Whatever I do, whether it's talk to children, work with my peers on a professional level, they see the passion, they see the love, and they will see the dedication. I give it my all, and when I can't give it my all, I put the best foot forward to end up giving it my all. I think that's just my walk in life, that I try to walk in love, because it was given to me, so I try to approach everything I do with love.
I like that a lot. Well said. Well said. Shrop, what about you?
I would have to agree with Chris. Love is definitely the root of my foundation of leadership. I think it's important to not only share the love, but also be open to receive it back from those that you are giving leadership to. And also, I would say definitely being approachable is really big and key.
Sure is.
The more approachable you are, the more willing people are to, confide in you, come to you when they have situations going on, and just follow you and trust, what you're doing and where you're leading them.
I really like what you said there, Shrop. The whole thing about being approachable and having a spirit and a disposition and a character that's welcoming. I know that in my leadership journey, where I've given various opportunities to folks to lead, but they were nastier than a rattlesnake to people, and it really brought down the morale and energy within that particular organization. And you can't operate from a position of poison. You cannot operate from a position of poison. And it's so important that when you are a leader, you are operating from a position of love. And even when you don't even have any love left, but you're still expected to lead, you put that best foot forward, like SS Chris was saying, and you're still giving the best of what it is you have left to give, which is still your best. So I respect what you guys are saying, and I think it's very important that other young adults and other individuals that are looking to strive and make an impact do everything authentically. I know that in a few of my comments, other YouTubers that I really respect have stated, oh, when Dr.SheCole is talking, she's very poised and just, sophisticated and things of that nature. And I know in the past that would be something that others may misconstrue as being perhaps a little bougie, stuck up, but I just embraced who, I was in that commentary because that's the way I was raised. So however it may come off, once you get to know me and my brand and my leadership and what I bring to the table in life, I think that the love is what translates when you get to know the person. And I think that that's what's key, that we have to love who we are, love one another, and be unapologetically who we are within our culture, within our spirituality, just within our personhood. I think that's so key. So for one of the last questions, we want to talk about longevity and leading in this pandemic and working in this pandemic as educators. It has really taken us to another level of tools that we didn't know we had in us, and perhaps picking up tools that we had put down that were not necessarily needed in past seasons. What would you say would be the mark of longevity for you, that once we get past this pandemic, once we have to continue to educate and mold minds with whatever the new paradigm looks like, with the impact of virtual learning, e-learning, and things of that nature, what do you think your longevity will look like, or what do you want to have as a point of longevity in your work professionally and personally?
I think for me, it's kind of twofold. One, I want to always treat others the way that I want to be treated, and also just to be able to know that learning happens every day. So I never want to get to a place where I think that I have learned all I need to learn. I want to continuously grow and continuously challenge myself to think outside the box and to be creative.
That's so important.
Come up with different ways of reaching the next generation and the generations to come.
Absolutely. I really appreciate that. And what do you think, SS Chris?
For me, one, working in a pandemic has taught me to reflect even more. I am now reflecting pretty much, after each class, because I need to know how I am leading. Am I first leading and educating in love?
Okay.
Because
leading and educating in love. I love that.
Because for the simple fact, it's new. This is almost like the first year for everyone of teaching.
Absolutely.
It's the first year.
Yes.
So
administrators too.
So
first year.
You're trying to figure out, how am I reaching the next generation?
Mm-hmm.
But then because so much is being thrown at us.
Yes.
Every minute.
Yes. Yes.
You forget, like, wait, am I really doing this? Is this authentically me coming out?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I doing this just to, I got to do this on to the next task?
Sure.
So for me, I want to, is my legacy that through this pandemic, I continue to lead and educate and love?
Sure.
Or was I doing it just to get by?
Sure.
But then if I was doing it to get by, then I wasn't being authentically me.
Got it.
So two things, one, am I authentically me? That's part of my longevity. And wherever I'm doing, am I doing it in love and dedication.
I love that. How about you, Shrop?
Definitely. I love what Chris said because it reminds me, of thinking about whether it's going to be person-centered or task-centered. Definitely, I would love for it to be person-centered because once you can get to the person, I think everything else kind of falls in place.
Yes.
And as he said, it's such a new thing that we're doing, and nothing is as it once was.
Sure.
So each day is a new day to learn something new, to grow from where you were yesterday to a point where you can become even greater day by day. So it's definitely important, as Chris was saying, to take that time, that reflective time, to really know and understand if what you've been presenting has been, a collaborative of who you are and projecting that to the world, or is it just, you meeting deadlines and other things.
I really love what you said, both of you, because the operations and the mechanics of, and, following the CDC, 6 feet apart, things of that nature, that is mechanical in nature, and very granular as far as what you need to follow in order to stay safe. But keeping the balance of the heart being involved, so it's a heart safety, heart educating, heart leading in love balance that we have to have through a situation like this that we are experiencing, and actually seeing the complete reconstruction of education happening before our eyes. We are the pioneers of the paradigm shift in education right now, walking through it right now. We are the history makers. We are writing our own narrative as we impact this realm of education. So just to kind of do a final wrap up with this, and I know that one of my subscribers is very much interested in currently studying to become an educator. Roger Dwayne, shout out to Roger Dwayne, future educator in the making. If you were to give a message to a future educator like Roger Dwayne or other individuals that may be watching, maybe they're looking to get into education, they want to have a shift in their life, or they've never thought about education, what would you say to encourage someone to come into this field, and why?
Well, I would say, one, don't give up. Don't give up. It's new. This era is new. No one has experienced this, so I'm going to say it's going to get tough. Yes, there are tough times.
Yes,
there are. But at the end of the day, especially for me to see a student, the light bulb, they have that aha moment.
Sure.
Even in the virtual space.
Yes.
You see that go off. That it put everything into place.
Gotcha.
You realize that this is your calling. I firmly believe anybody who goes into education,
yes,
it's a calling.
Yes, it is. Yes.
You can't take it, as okay, it's just a job.
Right.
Because a calling, sometimes you're going to be working late.
Well,
it is what it is. Hello, I'm working on the weekend.
Well,
you do it.
Yes.
You love it. So I would say, don't give up. And I will also say, seek out the best mentor. Find the best mentor.
Yes.
When I got into this, I found the best mentors to kind of connect with, and I learned, and I continue to learn, because as Trump said, every day you're learning something new, and when you get to the point you're not learning, then you need to take a step back and reflect.
Sure.
Because trust me, you're going to need somebody to lean on and to learn something from.
Absolutely, I agree. Shrub?
I would definitely say to future educators, you're here for such a time as this. So this generation and generation to come need you. There are so many people that come into education with the forethought that I'm gonna have time off with kids,
yeah,
sure. It's really a labor of love.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily going to reflect in your paychecks all the time. But at the same time, as Chris said, you know, to hear from a student, you know, the impact that you've had on them changing their lives. You know, maybe they were making poor decisions before, but something you said, you know, kind of altered the trajectory of their life. So it's just, and I think that's more impactful than any money, honestly, because that's something that you know you would do beyond a shadow of a doubt, whether there's money involved or not.
Right.
So just being able to know the impact that you have on the generations to come. I know for myself, even when I hear from former students, you know, and even students currently, you know, it's like, wow, I didn't even realize I did that.
Right.
You
Sure.
know? But the seeds you plant, they grow long after those students leave your room, or, you know, even if you're educating adults, but they grow long after, and even if you don't see it in your lifetime, somebody else will benefit from it in their lifetime.
I really love the way you wrap that up, and that really does epitomize the essence and theme of this particular episode of Kinky Curations with Dr. 𝐿𝐒Cole, the cultural curator, the kinky curator, talking about life, leadership, and longevity. What will people say about your dash, your born date, and your date of death when you transition? What will the world say about you? What will be the longevity of your brand? Thank you so much for spending some time with us this evening. This is Dr. 𝐿𝐒Cole bringing you love, peace, and soul. Thank you so much, and have a great one. Bye-bye now. Thank you.